You're listening to the Everything Jewish in 10 Minutes podcast, where you'll learn about every Jewish topic imaginable in about 10 minutes. Today's topic is Jewish holiday overview. And as always, I apologize for all of my Hebrew pronunciation. I know I'm going to pronounce Hebrew words wrong, so instead of getting annoyed, I give you permission to laugh at how I say things. Now, before you panic, no, I'm not going to list all of them and make you memorize dates like a human Google Calendar. Instead, think of Jewish holidays as the ultimate mashup of history, food, family, drama, and spiritual reflection, with a touch of comedy sprinkled in. Each one is like a Netflix episode with its own vibe. Some are serious dramas, some are slapstick comedies, and a few are food shows with a religious twist. They're spread out across the Jewish calendar, which, by the way, is lunar. So if you thought trying to figure out when Easter falls was confusing, get ready for Rosh Hashanah bouncing around September like a cosmic pinball. Jewish holidays are designed to help people pause, reflect, celebrate survival, or at least eat something symbolic. Let's start with the big one, Shabbat. Yes, technically it happens every week, but it's the holiday that never quits. Shabbat runs from Friday evening to Saturday night, and it's all about rest. Think of it as Judaism's weekly do not disturb setting. No emails, no errands, no endless scrolling. Instead, people light candles, eat a big meal, sing, and maybe nap like it's a competitive sport. Even if you're not religious, Shabbat has become a cultural reset button. Unplugging, reconnecting with people face-to-face, and remembering that life isn't just about deadlines and Wi-Fi. In fact, some people say Shabbat is the secret Jewish invention that saved the world from burnout. Imagine Netflix asking, "Are you still watching?" And Judaism replying, "No, we're resting with family. Thank you." Shabbat teaches that holiness isn't only found in temples. It's found in carving out time to slow down, appreciate what you've got, and maybe eat too much challah bread. Okay, now let's talk about the high holidays, Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur. These are the big-ticket days of the Jewish year. Rosh Hashanah is the Jewish New Year, and it's all about fresh starts. Forget champagne and fireworks. This new year involves apples dipped in honey for a sweet year ahead. It's basically dessert with a prayer attached. 10 days later comes Yom Kippur, the Day of Atonement, when Jews fast for 25 hours. No food, no water, not even coffee. Yes, you heard right, no coffee. It's about reflecting, apologizing, and promising to do better. Think of it as a spiritual reset button combined with the world's hardest juice cleanse. The two holidays together create a rhythm. Celebrate, reflect, then reset. And when it's all over, there's usually a big breakfast meal that feels like running a culinary marathon straight into a bagel buffet. High holidays, high stakes, high carbs, and hopefully high inspiration. Then comes Sukkot, which is kind of like Jewish camping, but in your backyard. Families build temporary huts called sukkahs, decorated with fruit, lights, and whatever arts and crafts supplies are left over from the kids' school projects. For a week, meals are eaten inside, and some people even sleep in them. It commemorates the Israelites wandering in the desert, but also connects people to nature. Imagine a cross between Thanksgiving dinner, a tailgate party, and glamping, but with more prayer and less Wi-Fi. Then, right after Sukkot, there's Simchat Torah, the holiday where Jews literally dance with the Torah scrolls. Picture the world's most intellectual conga line, with scrolls instead of maracas. Everyone celebrates finishing the yearly Torah reading cycle, then immediately rewinds back to Genesis. It's like binge-watching a series, hitting the finale, and then instantly rewatching season 1. Jewish holidays know how to balance solemn reflection with joyful dance parties. Now let's light things up. Literally. Hanukkah is probably the best-known Jewish holiday, mostly because it's near Christmas. But honestly, it's a minor holiday that got a PR glow-up. The story goes, a small group of Jewish rebels, the Maccabees, reclaimed their temple, and a tiny bit of oil miraculously burned for 8 nights instead of 1. So now Jews light candles on a menorah, add in fried foods like latkes and donuts, and play dreidel, a spinning top game that's basically ancient fidget spinner gambling. Hanukkah is less about gifts and more about remembering resilience, but in modern times, it's become the Jewish version of holiday season sparkle. Kids look forward to presents, adults look forward to latkes, and everyone enjoys the lights cutting through the winter darkness. It's like Judaism's way of saying, yes, we see you, December. We brought snacks. Purim, on the other hand, is Judaism's party holiday. Think Jewish Mardi Gras, but with a story about survival tucked in. It commemorates Queen Esther saving the Jews of Persia from the villain Haman, who, spoiler alert, had a really bad day. On Purim, people read the story out loud, and whenever Haman's name is mentioned, everyone boos, rattles noisemakers, and makes as much chaos as possible. Costumes are worn, plays are performed, and pastries called Hamantaschen, triangle-shaped cookies stuffed with jam or chocolate, are devoured by the dozen. Some communities even encourage drinking until you can't tell the hero from the villain, though moderation is usually advised. Purim is joyful, loud, and silly, and its lesson is serious: courage, resilience, and the idea that laughter can outlast oppression. It's proof that Jewish holidays aren't all about fasting and reflection. Sometimes they're about noise, sugar, and community theater-level acting. Passover, or Pesach, is the holiday that brings out the inner storyteller. It's basically the Jewish version of a dinner theater. Families gather for a meal called the Seder, where the story of the Exodus from Egypt is retold with songs, symbolic foods, and a healthy dose of family commentary. Bitter herbs symbolize slavery, matzah represents haste, and wine represents joy, multiplied by 4 cups, minimum. The Seder has a script, the Haggadah, but everyone adds their own commentary. Imagine combining a family dinner, an improv show, and a cooking demonstration, and you've got Passover. The holiday lasts 8 days, during which bread and other leavened products are off limits. Instead, it's all about matzah, the cracker that crunches, crumbles, and somehow gets everywhere. Passover is about remembering freedom, retelling history, and teaching kids that questions are not only allowed, but required. And if you can survive 8 days of matzah, you've truly earned your freedom. Don't forget Shavuot, the holiday that often flies under the radar but packs a dairy-filled punch. It celebrates receiving the Torah at Mount Sinai, but instead of fasting or sacrifices, Jews traditionally stay up all night studying. And what keeps you awake? Cheesecake. Seriously, cheesecake and blintzes are holiday staples. Imagine pulling an all-nighter in college, but instead of cramming for exams, you're reading sacred texts with friends and eating dairy-based desserts. It's equal parts intellectual marathon and culinary indulgence. Shavuot doesn't have flashy rituals like blowing shofars or lighting candles, but it's deeply meaningful. It celebrates revelation, learning, and community study. Plus, it proves that Jews knew the power of caffeine and sugar long before Starbucks did. Shavuot may not get the spotlight like Passover or Hanukkah, but if you're a fan of cheesecake, it just might be your favorite. Honestly, what other holiday encourages both Torah study and lactose intolerance? Of course, some Jewish holidays are more somber. Tisha B'Av, for example, commemorates the destruction of the ancient temples in Jerusalem. It's a full fast day, with readings of Lamentations and a mood of national mourning. Yom HaShoah remembers the Holocaust, honoring the 6 million Jews who perished. Yom HaZikaron commemorates fallen soldiers and victims of terror, followed immediately by Yom HaAtzmaut, Israel's Independence Day, a 1-2 punch of grief and celebration. These holidays remind Jews that history is not just ancient but painfully recent, and that memory is central to Jewish identity. Yet even in sorrow, Jewish holidays emphasize resilience and rebuilding. Mourning turns into hope, remembrance into renewal. The mix of joy and sorrow is what makes the Jewish calendar so human. It acknowledges suffering while insisting on survival. Because in Jewish life, even in the darkest times, there's always the promise of light. Sometimes literal candlelight, sometimes metaphorical hope. So there you have it, Jewish holidays in about 10 minutes. They're not just dates on a calendar. They're living traditions that weave together memory, meaning, food, and fun. Some holidays are about resting, some about celebrating survival, and some about eating so much brisket you wonder if your ancestors had stretchier pants. Together, they create a rhythm for Jewish life, a way to pause, reflect, laugh, cry, and always, always eat. Jewish holidays aren't meant to be experienced alone. They're about gathering, remembering, and passing stories to the next generation. Whether you're fasting on Yom Kippur, spinning a dreidel at Hanukkah, or just showing up for the kugel at your cousin's Passover Seder, you're participating in a chain thousands of years long. Thanks for joining me on this whirlwind tour. Later, we'll zoom in on individual holidays and give it the deep dive treatment, but still in about 10 minutes.